Was there a part of you that actually did not want to come back to music?
Ooh, straight in there with the...
Aura,
Hello.
welcome to my fort.
Thank you.
I feel like
This is so cute.
we kind of have a very similar brain wavelength
Yes.
that we operate on.
Yes, I noticed this the first time we met. I was like, oh, whoa, wow.
I wanted to start on more of a punchier note.
Yeah, go for it.
I hope, yeah.
Punch me.
Oh, hey, I've done it before. I'll do it again. You were on a break from music. Are we not allowed to talk about this at all?
No, we can get into it.
Okay.
We can get into it a little bit. Yeah.
So from my understanding, you were on a break from music. Was that break optional? Maybe not.
No, definitely not. Definitely not optional.
But I
didn't enjoy that very much. Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of where I wanted to start the conversation because I feel like it's important. What kind of happened in maybe high level terms which made it so that you could not release music for 3 years?
So I was stuck in a contract. Lovely tale as old as time. Artist stuck in a contract. On a serious note, it was really, really hard because I had spent years just super hyper-focused on music and my career, and I basically started pursuing it when I was like 10. Because I started uploading YouTube covers and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be an artist, this is what I wanna do. I knew very early on that that's what I wanted to do with my life. And I don't know, to just be on this like continuous roll and then to be halted in what felt like a really pivotal moment in my career was really, really hard.
So did the pause kind of, was it enforced like at that peak moment of your...
Like, kind of, I don't know. It was definitely around the time where I felt like I want to keep going. Like, I always want to keep going. I've always been very, like, driven when it comes to my career. So I think being forced to stop, I don't know. I think I was forced to go on a journey mentally that I needed to go on through that, because I think when you're chasing something from a very young age, it basically morphs your brain. Like, it shapes your whole brain. Like, in my brain, I was like, oh, this is the only thing that matters. And, like, this is the only thing I'm, like, valued for. And, like, people like me because I'm this person and this, like, artist and, like, wow. And even just, like, going back home and, you know, how I'm perceived there as well. It's all kind of around that. So then suddenly, when I wasn't able to do it, it's just like, wow. Who am I?
Was there a part of you that actually did not want to come back to music?
Ooh, straight in there with the... You know, at the very, very lowest point, it did feel like it was going to be impossible. Like, I literally had no clue how I was going to be able to release music again. And luckily, I had quite a lot of things happening. Like, I went on tour with Alan Walker and we had a couple songs and I, like, wrote on the album. So, like, that helped me, like, mentally kind of, like, escape it for maybe, like, a year. But when it really hit me, it was like, whoa, I don't know. I did have a moment. But it's so inherent that it didn't feel like a choice I could make, you know, in whatever form, you know, it needs to happen. Like, I need to be creative and I need to make music.
So you are coming out with an album.
Yeah.
It's your first album.
It is. It's
how on earth do you feel about this? Because I feel like, given the fact that you had to take time off, and now I feel like you're stepping into such a beautifully, like, creatively free and, like, you know yourself better. Like, how do you feel releasing your first album?
It's a crazy feeling. I like the thought of it being out there, like, after all this time, and, like, the whole concept and everything behind it is just taking up so much of my brain for so long. Yeah. And releasing it, like, wow, I think I'm starting to, like, really understand, like, why artists always make such a big deal out of albums. I mean, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm like, what, you know, but now I'm like, whoa, like, this is a big deal because you just spend so much time. Like, you spend, you spend so much time thinking about it and tweaking every little thing, and the artwork and the music itself and any part of the creative, the social campaign, like all these things are just so intricately connected for me that it's been a lot of work.
So tell me about the concept of the album.
Yeah, it's kind of set up like a dungeon crawling video game.
Okay, yes.
That's the kind of visual journey. And the emotional journey is like a very classical hero's journey arc where Aura kind of starts at rock bottom and has lost her heart core. She's lost her heart. She feels like the pit of despair. The pit of despair. She's in the pit of despair.
You've been in yourself.
I was in the pit of despair, so we started there, you know? It kind of follows the journey of her finding herself again by going through this dungeon, and every room is a song that has a corresponding symbol, and she has to overcome each obstacle in each of the rooms in order to progress down the track list.
Are there things in the album you're a little bit nervous for your fans to kind of learn about you, or maybe realize, or is there anything where you're like, oh, shoot, like that makes my heart beat a little bit faster when I think about someone listening to that?
I think there is definitely a lot of vulnerability. I love to hide behind a metaphor because I think just in terms of lyrics, like I love writing poetically, and I have often like hidden behind that. And I think there's some emotional songs on this record that are a little bit more straightforward. And that is a little scary.
Yeah.
I think especially like there's a song I have called, which is very much about how like as a child I just felt so different. And I don't know, I just like very clearly didn't fit in, never felt like I belonged fully anywhere. The international upbringing definitely didn't help with that. But alongside that, I definitely felt like very different inside my brain. Like I would disassociate a lot. I felt very disconnected from reality. Yeah.
Do you still feel like that?
Less. I think definitely less. It's definitely gotten better over time, I think. Just existing. Gotten more used to existing, I think.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I honestly think there's like, because I'm so similar in like in an international upbringing where you're like making up stories to kind of comfort yourself about whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
You do tend to withdraw. You're not really understood by whatever like cultures you're brought into. Yeah. Which aren't even in your choice to be brought into. Yeah. So you just kind of end up as this little blob.
I just felt, like, you really get it.
Well, what now?
I'm like, what am I? Where am I? Yeah. What's happening? Yeah. Also, just like in general, I always felt like I would very often look into the mirror and just feel like I'm not inside my body, like very deeply. And that feeling I've actually not had for a very long time, but it's so weird. And it's just, it makes you feel so like, huh? Okay. I think that's definitely why I created my own inner world, because I felt like that's how I could contextualize my existence in this one.
Do you feel like world building is like a protective layer?
Oh, for sure.
First and foremost. Okay.
For sure. I mean, it definitely started off when I was a child because I was trying to escape reality in the world.
But like listening to your music and like even going onto your Instagram page, like kind of every like Aura touch point is genuinely stumbling into a different world. It's I remember the first time I came across your Instagram and I was like, oh, like this is a character. This is someone else.
I'm so glad you see that. Yeah, that's really that's cool to hear, because sometimes I'm like, you know, I think there are like so many sides to this that especially with like social media and like promo and like how you have to market yourself as an artist these days, and I really always want to keep the creative protected, you know, like it is like a sacred thing, and I think it's definitely a bit of a battle, I think, for most artists to keep it all in balance with social media stuff too.
What is your opinion about social media?
You know, I actually find it really fun. Like, I love doing like stupid audios and like, you know, I like silly things. Like I try and really make sure that I'm still having fun with it. Like I need to have fun with it. It's such a big part of everything now.
Yeah. But do you find it difficult to balance kind of the creative vision, which might be really pure, and then like cutting it down to like 9:16 format under 40 seconds?
Well, yeah,
like,
I definitely do.
Those constraints are quite difficult to push artist visions, and I completely appreciate that. And it's such a saturated market, but like, is that something that you think about, or at least that you have conversations with your team?
Oh,
and
for
stuff
sure.
Like that?
For sure. I think I'm always trying to make sure that there's a layer of like the creativity like still in that content. That's why I've really been loving like having props, like the sword. For instance, the sword. I feel like, even if I'm just doing a lip sync to camera, but I have the sword, I'm like, okay, I'm in my world.
There's the touch point.
I'm in the touch. There's a touch point there. That feels like I can enter that aesthetic and like that character. Yeah. You know, I think you get it. Yeah. I get it. I mean, this is a little world too, so it's like, you know.
I hate making fucking reels of it. You've said this to me before, but I think you were lying. So you don't write smut.
You just had to bring that up again. You're like, I can't wait to bring this up again.
Because, come on.
Okay. But back in my day, I've accepted the Wattpad girl side of me a very long time ago. I actually, she really started it off for me.
Who?
The Wattpad girl inside my brain. Okay, no.
Okay, let's add another character.
Like, hey,
Wattpad girl. We have Wattpad girl. Cool.
We do have Wattpad girl. Yeah.
Do you ever? Sorry, continue.
No, that is where I started writing like Lord of the Rings fan fiction that made me come up with the artist name. Aura.
Sorry, repeat that. So how did Aura come about, the name?
So I had this elf character in my Lord of the Rings fan fiction when I was like 11 or 10 years old, and her name was Orathiel.
Beautiful name.
So I like just took that and used it as the artist name.
Do you speak Elvish?
I can say like Mea Govanen, which is I think a greeting, and
cool.
Inaneth that's like my name is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Aura. There we go.
I love that.
That's all I remember from my nerd days. I mean, I'm still...
You're still a nerd. You're Jamie in real life.
In real life.
Say your name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could say,
I never know what the fuck I'm
most people don't call me that, and like I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth with it. I'm not like, no, don't call me that, but I'm
You're like, wait.
They are two entities to me.
Okay.
A little bit. It helps me mentally.
Okay, yes. So, Aura, as in you.
Yeah.
Is that a character that you are stepping into? Okay.
For sure.
But like when you walk on stage, are you Jamie or are you Aura?
Definitely Aura. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when does
this
Jamie...
is good. Process of elimination. When you're this. When you're here.
Okay, cool. So right now actually.
Right now is tricky because it's like we're talking in a very...
The liminal space.
This is the liminal space perhaps between the two.
I feel like it's kind of like Aura's here, but she's also meeting Jamie.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
I think you guys are both here.
There's like a... sound like we're both here.
What would you say to yourself right before Panic Room kind of took off? Like, what would you say to yourself, knowing everything you know now, knowing the 3-year break, forced break, I'd say? What would you say to yourself?
You will not always feel like this. I think. You know, that song really is like exists for a reason. You know, I did actually very much feel like I was in a panic room. I was very anxious. I didn't really, all the other things we talked about with the disassociation. Like, it was just a weird time. And now that I've like grown up a little bit, I definitely feel like so much more comfortable with my own like place in the world. And it does get better. It does get better. There is hope. There is hope.
Well,
it's kind of a beautiful circle.
That's it from me.
Wow.
Thank you for coming stargazing with me.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really magical.
You're the best.
You're the best too.
Love you.
Should we? Yeah. Yes. Love you too. Wow.